Hey there, freaking awesome people, Winny here from Mind Now, and welcome back to Inspirational Mind, where we break down channels, interview people to gain their perspective on how you can master your mind to gain self-confidence and self-esteem, especially as an introvert. But hey, if you're an extrovert, don't shy away because the world needs you. And today we have a special guest. It is Zlatin from The Fearless Dreams. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Winny?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thank you again for giving me your time and for being here. And yeah, in my opinion, to have self confidence, you also gotta know how to set your goals and you gotta have those goals, right? But before we get into the goal setting, I want to ask you, how do you actually gain self confidence and belief in yourself?
Well, from all of my failures, to be honest, because I think failing is part of success and part of life, and we need to kind of be prepared for it and embrace it, even enjoy failures, which it's, I know, really hard as a concept to understand, but I think it's the first stepping stone to gaining self-confidence and getting yourself better. So just failing and enjoying it. That's the way I approach gaining more self-confidence.
Out of your comfort zone, definitely, man. So, also before you set any goals, I think this has affected me in the past, like not knowing what to do, what your purpose is, what your passion is, and perhaps maybe you don't even know yet. But what is your take on that? What advice would you actually give to people?
Well, I think everyone has been through such period. Me personally, I've also had periods of I have no idea what to do with my life. And the first part is to understand that that's completely normal and that life is kind of runs in circles. And there's always a way out. And the main thing you need to do is to just keep walking, even if you have no idea what you want to do in life or what you are supposed to become, or something happens like you want to become a doctor, or I personally wanted to become a volleyball player, and I was a volleyball player, but I got injured, so everything changed, and had to start from scratch. And I'm pretty sure this happens to many people, and that is completely normal, but you just need to do the little steps that will take you somewhere, and not just sit in the corner, do nothing, and you're like, oh, what am I gonna do with my life, and oh, it's all done, and so on and so on. That's just waste of time. Even if you're not sure if that's your thing, just do something, move in a direction, and the thing will find you for sure.
That is beautifully said, man. Just keeping the momentum going. Now, I gotta say, I was guilty of this. Like, kind of. Well, I wasn't actually just sitting there and not doing anything, but I definitely could have done something more. And because you just kind of overthink things, right? And especially, I was an introvert, and I'm a lot of I think a lot, and so it is very easy for you to get lost. But like you said, you gotta have that momentum no matter what. You just gotta keep on going, man. Anyway, now here is your main topic, bro. How do you actually set goals?
Well, I think it's very simple. I think everyone, first of all, have their own approach and they think about their goals differently. Some of them just want to write it on a board, others write it down like in a journal style. Me personally, I think they're very simple three steps that everyone needs to do, and I'm personally doing with my goals. First one is to kind of formulate it in a very easy to understand and structured way. Easy to understand yourself, of course. Once you have the definition of your goal, then the next step, of course, is to put a plan in place. So, how you want to get there? What are the steps that you need to take? Lay down everything that you know, because, of course, there will be things that you won't know and you will find out on the way. And then the third one is, I think, even the most important. When you set yourself on the path, there will be doubts and you will feel down. You'll be like, oh my god, nothing's happening the way I want it to happen, and you'll be like, I should quit. And at these moments you need to know, and you need to know that your purpose and why, first of all, you set up to do this thing and to achieve this goal. Go back to it and find a way to motivate yourself and continue. And that's, I think, the key point here because goals, they could be formulated easily. A plan, okay, maybe here and there you can do something and on the way develop it. But when you're in that hole, it's really hard to get out, and you need to know how to do that.
I totally agree with you on that. It is really, really difficult because doubts will always be there, like you said, and especially they say whatever you focus on expands. So if you're like negatively thinking about it and doubting and all of that, and if you keep on staying there, you will eventually believe it, and it is like you said, it's an obstacle. It's a thing where you say like, holy cow, where what am I doing? I'm stuck, right? But then like you said, you got to find ways that actually bring you out again. And in which areas do you actually set goals, like health, wealth, love, and what else?
Well, before I answer this question, I just wanted to add something that I read in Grant Cardone's book. And he said it best, and that really stuck with me. He said, like, create bigger problems. So if you have bigger problems and you're facing them and you're like, I don't know what to do, you should celebrate this because this means you're on the right way. Because when you have small problems, it means you have small goals and you're on a path for achieving greater goals when you have big problems. So, for example, if you have a credit to the bank of, I'm sorry, my voice is going. Um, if you have the credit to the bank for 1,000 to start a business, that would be a small business. But if you have a credit, let's say 10,000, 100,000, that's a much bigger business that you'll be running. That's a bigger problem, but it's a greater goal also. So problems are great.
That is a very, very awesome way to look at things. Yeah, I've never heard of this before, but now knowing that, it actually also kind of motivates you in the background, right? So yeah, talking about now setting goals, in which fields do you actually set goals in?
Well, first of all, anyone can set goals to whatever area they think they should set goals. I personally try to set like two, three major goals per year and go from there. It really depends. So in the past, it was my health. I managed to find a way to have a good health, stable health across any kind of season. So yeah, prioritize what is most important and what do you want to set goals to, and then move on to the next one once you achieve it. It could be health, it could be personal relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, doesn't matter. Could be business, but what's most important for you and what will give you the most value in your life right now. Because if you're setting a goal for money, that might not be the right thing at that moment.
Okay, so you actually set goals in one specific field, which is like the most important one, right? And once you have accomplished that, then you kind of move on to the next ones. Am I right?
Yeah, one or a few fields that you think, but not too many, not like.
Okay, awesome. Now, this is something that I actually talked about with a YouTuber who actually made a video today, and I commented because he said to set goals realistically, right? And there are people who say set them big, like really big, and some people say set them realistically. And so we kind of had like a discussion. I said, I, to be honest, set goals that are realistically, but somehow in my mind I set them high. I don't know if it makes sense or not, but when I write something down, it is realistic, but in my mind I shoot kind of for the moon, if it makes sense. So how do you go about it? Do you set them realistically or shoot for the moon, or?
That's a very interesting question because I also did a small section of a video about this, and my personal approach is I shoot for the moon, but I also shoot for the city next door. So I set huge goals and then I set also smaller goals on the way so I don't get demotivated. because it's really easy. If you want to, for example, have 100,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, or have the best wife and have 4 kids, and so on, that's a hard to achieve, and it's a long-term goal. And there are a lot of other things on the way that you will achieve probably, and you can set as goals that are smaller goals. So for example, um, going back to the examples, get to 1000 subscribers, or go out 3 times a week in places where you have people with similar interests, so that you can find the perfect partner for you. And if you do this 3 times a week, that's a goal, you achieve it. It's a smaller goal, but it will take you to the moon at some point. So really, I have a mixed approach. I have big goals, but I also have smaller goals on the way, so I don't get demotivated.
Yeah, totally. It makes total sense, man. I think with setting smaller goals, you are more likely, let's say, to achieve them faster than, for the, if you shoot for the stars or for the moon. I think, the big goals, like you said, is mainly for long term. So that is like
Yeah.
over the years, right? So yeah, we actually already talked about what to do in you said, for example, big problems equals like big goals and all of that, and we get, sometimes we have doubts and what to do in those times. But my question now is, how do you actually stay disciplined?
Well, that's the hard part. It's really hard sometimes because it in my personal life, I'm working and I'm doing many other things besides work, and discipline is like the moving factor for everything. If I'm not disciplined, I'm gone. And the way I approach it is, everyone, in our days, everywhere say that we don't have enough time, and for me that is total BS. We have plenty of time. It's like we utilize it the wrong way. So every half an hour that you spend watching, I don't know, sports videos, that's a lost time that you can invest in your goals or something else. So every time I find myself wasting time for such things, I'm like, okay, I need to get disciplined more and focus on those 2 or 3 things that are important right now and bring me happiness in the future. It could be your partner, it could be your YouTube channel, it could be your job, whatever it is. And just finding those moments that you're wasting your time, basically, that's the way I discipline myself. So I'm like, okay, I can cut off this half an hour, 1 hour, whatever, and invest it in something more useful. But there's also a big but, because we're not all like computers yet. uh, there should be a period, or I at least need a period of a day or two or whatever, to not be disciplined, do anything that I shouldn't do. So I kind of relax my mind and the focus, because it's really hard to stay focused all the time, like months on end. And yeah, so basically that's it.
Totally agree. Again, I in the past was like too hard on myself. I never, like, even when I relaxed, of course I did sleep and all of that. That is also relaxation. But when it came to work and I watched like a movie or something, like once in a while, I even felt bad because I did that. I was like so hard on myself, which is kind of bad because, like you said, taking a break is actually really important, because you also gotta, recharge your willpower, your focus and all of that. So I'm going to tell my past, don't be too hard on yourself. For anyone who's watching and listening to this, if you're too hard on yourself, don't do it. Take some breaks and all of that. Now, talking about tracking goals, though, you also really said that, when you see you are spending too much time on this and that, you're gonna cut that. But do you track weekly or monthly? How do you go about that?
It's really depends on the goal. If you have a deadline, that will determine the way you approach this. I personally I'm not too strict on myself on this. I have the main goals, obviously, but I'm enjoying the road. So the thing is, it's it's really easy to say and watch all the YouTube videos saying track your goals weekly, monthly, whatever. But enjoy the process, man. It's just those goals are like once you achieve it, it will be a moment of celebration, but it will be just a moment. And if you celebrate the whole way and all the obstacles that you're gonna have and all the small wins and everything, just enjoy the process. And I think that's the meaning of happier life and not just being so focused and not enjoying the path to it. So I don't personally track my goals so strictly, let's say.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, but he keeps on reminding everyone to enjoy the process, enjoy the road, because like you said, the goal is just one moment, man. What if yeah, what happens after that, right? And then you have to set another goal, obviously, and then if you set like all of them goals, what happens? Like all of that will then be or turn to into a process, right? It's a journey. But yeah, I totally agree with you on that, man. So yeah, what do you already said again? I have to keep on repeating. When you kind of took the analogy of when you have bigger problems, it means you have a bigger goal. And in those times where you have this big problem, there might be a time where you're literally in a dark time, in a time where you feel like demotivated and you feel literally like, you know, you feel lost and all of that. What do you do in those times?
Hmm. I might surprise you on this one. Um, well, the first thing I regularly do is completely switch off from the thing that I'm doing and go do something else. So, for example, if it's work, I just go for a run until I cannot breathe, or just completely change what you're doing regularly so you get out of the this box that you're in. But the second thing that I do is I just set bigger challenges, because putting things into perspective is really hard when you're in a hole. And I do something that I call counterintuitive motivation. And that's basically just setting even bigger goals, setting even bigger challenges, and start chasing them. And then, in the perspective of the bigger goal, the one that I'm stuck in right now, it would just look small. It would just look really, really small. And I just didn't have the power to persevere and go on and like, okay, man, I need to do more of this. I need to do more of that. And I just bury myself with more things so I don't have the time to think about this little issue that I have right now and I'm stuck on. And that's the way I approach it.
That's really interesting approach here, man. It's like you're trying to get like a comparison so that this time, whatever time you have, the dark time looks like kind of small, right? Getting like kind of the bigger picture in perspective. Wow, a very interesting way of approaching things there. Now, do you actually read books?
No, I listen to books. Yeah.
Have you read a book concerning mindset?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Okay, what's your
absolutely. And
favorite book concerning that? What book can you recommend?
I would recommend a classic, and that's Robin Sharma's "The Monk That Who Sold His Ferrari." I think it's a very great summary of thinking approach and how you need to balance normal life with spiritual life and how they crash. The monk that sold his Ferrari. Yeah, it's an amazing story. It's mostly fictional, but everyone can relate to it, and I like the first time I heard it. It was beginning of last year, and I actually heard it twice in a row because I needed to get into the concept of it. It's somehow straightforward and simple, but also so hard to reach this level of, you know, exactly perspective in the grand scheme and how you approach every little detail in your life and every big problem also. And what is the most important? Is it money? No. Is it like if what people will say about you? No, it's not. It's nice to have few likes on the video or on the Facebook page, whatever. But what really drives you, what really makes you happy inside? Do you eat well? Do you sleep well? What are you thinking about? Your mind is basically a garden, and if you have a garden outside and you rely on the fruits that it will give you to survive, will you give it just no water or bats, or you keep it inside without any sunlight? Like, how you will handle this? And people just forget about taking care of themselves and their brain and their body also. And that's the book about. And I recommend it absolutely to anyone. Doesn't matter what your goal is in life.
Wow, that is awesome. I've never heard of that book, to be honest. But I will definitely take a look at it. So was he eventually a monk who like gave up his Ferrari, or is that just kind of a metaphor?
So I think it's more of a fictional story, but it starts with a guy with two guys. They were friends, colleagues, and in New York or somewhere like big shots lawyers, and one of them just was so tired and so bad in his job that he decided to go to the Himalayas. And then he found a village there. He spent like 2 or 3 months kind of cleaning himself from everything that has happened in life. And whatever he learned, the only condition was to kind of give it his knowledge to others. And basically, he's coming back to New York, I think it was the location, and he's sitting with his friend that he's still in this type of environment, like the corporate lawyer with a lot of money and so on, but not feeling really fulfilled with life. And he's basically telling him the whole story and the approach of the monks up there in the Himalayas.
Mm, wow, interesting. I will definitely take a look at that.
You should, man.
I
You
love like these monk perspective kind of books. That's awesome. Anyway, before we get to the last question, how can people connect with you further, man?
Well, I'm sure you're gonna leave a link on my channel, Fearless Dreams. It's called. I have Twitter, Facebook, Insta, you name it, or you can email me. I would love to chat with anyone, even without a reason. I just love, just like you, connecting with people, with awesome people, and creating this mastermind, of like-minded people that we kind of, raise the whole level of society and
Awesome.
people. Yeah. So I love talking with anyone.
That is awesome, bro. That is really nice of you as well, and I totally agree with you on that. We should like help each other, and being with like-minded people is definitely really helpful in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my last question. As you know, my YouTube channel is all about mastering your mind to gain self confidence, self esteem. So, my question to you is what was that one activity, one revelation that you think is really important that people should know concerning mastering your mind?
It takes time, man. I was always in a rush. I was always the person who's like a great achiever and, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do it yesterday. But it just takes time, and that's my advice to anyone who wants to master their mind. Don't be too hard on yourself and just work step by step every day. Life is a marathon, it's not a sprint, and we need to take it step by step and just enjoy the ride, of course, and also learn about ourselves the way we learn about languages, books, people, or skills. That's how we need to learn about ourselves, because self-knowledge is the key to healthy mind, healthy life, and self-awareness.
Beautifully said, bro. No, I totally agree with what you said, man. Like being, like you said, being in love with the process and knowing yourself, and that is what I'm also trying to really convey on my channel, to be self-aware, right? Knowing that you're freaking awesome. But anyway, guys, again, thank you, Zlatin, for being here. Guys, do check him out. And what was your favorite advice, whoever is watching this and listening to this right now? My one, personally, I think, is being in love with the process and self-aware. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Remember that you are freaking awesome and that you can do it if you put your mind to it. Winnie out. For now.